staff member, and following us over on Twitter. Recently, we looked at Channel 5 Video, the local VHS distributor from the 1980s, putting out tapes of classics old and new for a budget price for UK audiences. It was a success, and aside from its namesake broadcaster coming around a decade later, Channel 5 Video has arguably carved out its own little niche in the memories of Brits who grew up in the early home video era. But we also briefly touched on Later, that arrived on in the 4G, and was the one to kickstart the entire wave of video releases that people could pick up that had important rights. This is, of course, the video collection. Home video was exciting. Truly, when it first came around in the 70s and developed throughout the 80s, the prospect of owning a machine that could not only record your favourite programmes from the telly, but also give you the means to watch back some of your favourite movies from your childhood, it was almost too good to be true. In the sense of ownership, it was too good to be true. Tapes across the various formats of the day, VHS, Beta, Video 2000, etc., they were expensive to own outright. A new major movie release could run you as high as £70 for the privilege of ownership. The price would remain around for at least a year or two. The rental market. So audiences could rent a tape for a few nights for just a couple of quid before returning it. But by the middle of the decade, an idea was born to change the long-established status quo in the home video market here in the UK. KXL was named for the first record buyers from down the country. For several years, they released tons of compilation albums on vinyl, which sold in their millions. Whilst ubiquitous today, compilations were still a relatively new and novel concept, which helped drive KXL's success. Sensing an opportunity to enter the home video market, together with Brave World Video, the two came together to develop the new idea. Both companies were owned under the Prestwick Group, and whilst they had resources for this new video line, they would need the power, reach, and recognisability of a big UK retailer to save this promotion. Given that this was the 1980s, it could only be one real answer. This may be a fond memory nowadays, but just a few decades ago, it was a real powerhouse in the UK retail scene. Fully sensed the potential of the video collection, so much so that stores were absolutely crammed with as much stock as possible, leading to some initial fears from those in upper management. The plan was to release these tapes as sell-through titles, implying that rather than renting them for just a few pounds more, customers could own the VHS outright. All of this revolved around the price point, with many video collection tapes retailing for just £9.99, and some even lower than that. All of this was still a major gamble for all involved, however. Woolworths had invested in purchasing a lot of exclusive stock, and for the companies behind the video collection, if the naysayers were right and the brand didn't take off, then they would have a very sizable financial problem awaiting them. But before they could worry about that too much, the time for the video collection to launch had arrived.
Welcome to the Video Collection. Top quality films on top quality tape at one unbelievable price. The Video Collection brings you Hollywood's greatest stars in their finest films. John Wayne riding the Rio Grande.
The range launched in 1985 to remarkable success, with Woolworths shops up and down the country claiming they had ran out of stock so quickly that more would needed to be shipped as soon as possible. This was helped by extensive advertising and promotion, as well as the killer tagline, "A video for the price of a blank tape," a factor that would certainly appeal to the vast majority of video purchasers in the mid-1980s. Clearly people wanted to own their own tapes, as the public went out in droves to pick up a whole range of titles that the video collection had to offer. This included a number of classic westerns, comedies, musicals, dramas, and perhaps the most popular, the children's range, offering programs both old and new to delight those of the younger generations.
Brand new friends or old chums, they're all in the video collection. Share the adventure, join the excitement of Thundercats. Mask, where illusion is the ultimate weapon. You can chop away with Thomas the Tank Engine. There's Yogi Bear and an explosive selection of cartoons. The elegant refinement of the classic story, Wind in the Willows.
Badger! Badger, old chap! Come and join us.
With sales of close to 1 million tapes in just around a year, another big success for the video collection would come thanks to the partnership of one of the most well-known and prolific broadcasters on UK television. Thames, which had begun operating the London weekday franchise of the ITV network back in 1968, was undoubtedly one of the biggest and most successful producers of content for said network. They were able to strike a deal with the video collection in 1986. Through the label of Thames Video Collection, their titles were now exclusively going to be released on video under the Video Collection banner, a major win for the initiative.
Welcome to the Video Collection. Our brand new catalogue is packed with great films.
Despite newcomers like Channel 5 Video hitting the market, the video collection would only continue to grow from strength to strength for the remainder of the 1980s.
Only the best will do. The latest designs, state of the art high-tech, world-famous names, and vast range to choose from.
This is partly due to the ever-increasing rise of VCR sales, meaning more people than ever had the means to purchase one of these low-cost tapes for their collection at home. Such was the success that a new label was able to be launched alongside the video collection, this one being titled as Cinema Club.
Welcome to the Cinema Club, a vast range of top titles on video, from timeless classics to cult comedy to all action blockbusters. There's something for everybody at Cinema Club.
This label too would often focus on classic releases, but I think we can save a more in-depth look at this offshoot for another time. The same year as Cinema Club launched in 1989, another connection with the ITV network was forged. Central Television, who had been operating since 1982 and like Thames were one of the biggest names in the network, entered a new deal with the video collection for their titles to be distributed by them exclusively. And as the 90s began, with home video sales continuing to rise to new heights each and every year, the video collection, eventually rebranding to Video Collection International, or just VCI for short, continued to be one of the market leaders here in the UK.
Sell-through is video which is available for the general public to buy directly so that they can take it home and own a copy of the film. In recent years, we became aware that people would like to own their own copies of films. So what happened after about a year, 18 months of the film being out for video rental, it was repackaged and made available for sale.
One turning point of this time was the shift from the major Hollywood studios when it came to home video. Starting with titles like Rain Man and Batman from the tail end of the 80s, movie companies began selling brand new titles at a sell-through price to see whether audiences' enthusiasm for releases from the video collection and Channel 5 would translate to their latest lineup of films. The transition wasn't instant, but year on year, more households began to purchase movies outright as opposed to renting them, although the rental scene here in the UK was able to make a consistent go of things well into the 2000s. For VCI, who had arguably been a pioneer of this sell-through idea when it came to VHS tapes, how were they able to survive? Well, they always maintained a wide variety when it came to their list of releases. This was further helped undoubtedly by the ever-popular children's range of titles. Not only were these some of the most affordable tapes you could pick up during the 90s, but their rewatchability enticed parents, knowing their child could simply rewind their favorite and watch it again and again. Most children of the 90s also remember the VCI logo of the time, although it was known to give some of them the odd logo-related nightmare. One surprising venture the VCI had embarked on was an exclusive deal with the football club Manchester United to distribute its range of home videos for a 10-year period starting in 1996. As one of the UK's most popular football clubs, this was indeed a profitable venture. A few years later, in 1998, VCI would form a new venture with the Granada Media Group, launching the label Granada Video. Not only did this grant VCI a boatload's worth of new content under their umbrella, but it also gave them access to the companies that Granada now owned, such as Tyne Tees, London Weekend, and Yorkshire Television. Later that year, VCI would be purchased for just shy of £60 million. Things couldn't have looked brighter, as the world prepared to welcome the dawn of a brand new millennium.
It's Saturday, January the 1st, the year 2000.
As the world entered the 21st century, VCI was still going strong, even moving to releasing titles on the brand new DVD format, which was steadily growing in popularity. However, by 2004, an announcement was made that would change the look and general brand of VCI forever. Woolworths Group, together with BBC Worldwide, had announced that they had joined together to form 2Entertain, which would combine the two companies' video production and publishing units. This in turn would include, of course, Video Collection International. 2Entertain has become a familiar name to those who grew up in the 2000s and 2010s, and I'm sure some of them may not have been aware of the brand's famous legacy. The BBC would ultimately become the sole owner of 2Entertain, largely due to the collapse of the Woolworths brand as a whole towards the end of the 2000s. Whilst 2Entertain remains as the legal name of the video distribution company, most content tends to bear the BBC Studios logo, as it's now known. 2Entertain is mostly reserved for releases of non-BBC content that they have the rights to, but the prolificness of the brand is arguably nowhere near as it once was some 20 years ago when it first debuted. So, is the video collection truly no more? Well, being technical, it does live on, just under the legal name of 2Entertain. But in terms of that initial branding, that strong name, the brand that promised a video at no more than the cost of a blank tape, is well and truly gone. Like its contemporary Channel 5 Video, the video collection is well and truly beloved by those who grew up with it, particularly right at the beginning in the late 80s. Thousands, if not millions of Brits could probably point to at least one title that they owned on VHS that was a part of that video collection, complete with that iconic logo plastered on the front cover. For me, my memories are more in the VCI days of the company. Starting up each of my children's tapes, if they weren't Channel 5 Video, there was a high chance I'd be sitting wide-eyed as the 3D letters of the VCI logo came swirling into view, creating a positive association that has lasted for decades.
If you want the best choice of movies around on top-grade tape at a price everyone can afford, look for this label, the Video Collection. Start your collection today.
The video collection was a game changer for home video in the UK. I think that goes without saying. For the price of a blank tape, audiences could, for the first real time, truly grab a tape off the shelf at Woolworths and buy it outright, rather than renting or waiting years for the price to come down. You can make judgments on the quality of the tape used, or even the titles themselves, but one thing is for sure, the home video market wouldn't have evolved or even be the same today had it not been for those early steps taken by the video collection.
Films, cartoons, music, and much, much more. The Video Collection has the best range of video titles to collect at a price that makes them a gift. The Video Collection, Britain's biggest selling video label. There's something for everyone on video from VCI.
Thank you to our patrons for helping to
70s, early 80s.
Let's take a look at some features of Nintendo Switch 2 and how it's improved from the Nintendo Switch. Greater detail on the screen supports up to 5 seconds.
If you're an anime fan, then you're probably aware of all the drama surrounding ChatGPT's recent update, which allows you to turn anything you like into a Studio Ghibli-inspired image. So far, it's mainly been used to give famous memes the Ghibli treatment, but we've also seen lots of images of films and TV shows reimagined in the Ghibli style, everything from Harry Potter to Stranger Things. I've seen plenty of people defending this, arguing that because they are just still images, they aren't really doing any harm. I'll get into why that's a dangerous stance to take shortly, but first I want to address the fact that people have already started using AI to create pale imitations of Ghibli animation, and why this could be the beginning of the end for anime as we know it. There's a video called What If Studio Ghibli Directed Lord of the Rings that's been doing the rounds over the past few days, and it's racking up views at a rapid rate. The channel in question is actually better known for doing the opposite, using AI to make live-action trailers for Ghibli films. But the guy decided to jump on the bandwagon when ChatGPT's Ghibli update dropped, and this was the result. Now, as you can see, it is far from perfect. The character designs change from scene to scene, and some of it looks more like stop motion than Ghibli. Like the video that sends the skeleton tumbling down the mountain in Mono, but that's without mentioning this elf standing behind Legolas who has a half a face or so on. It is unbelievable that this trailer has been made with AI. However, what you have to remember is that this was put together in just 9 hours. By his own admission, the guy who created this pushed it so he could get it uploaded. He states in the video's description that he didn't have time to lip sync or correct the obvious errors because he wanted to take advantage of the viral ChatGPT trend and get the video seen by as many people as possible. Now, imagine for a second that a quick turnaround wasn't necessary and the priority here was to create as accurate an imitation as possible. With no time restraints, this could theoretically be tweaked endlessly until all the kinks had been worked out, and it did actually resemble the Ghibli film, and that is a frightening thought. Something made by Ghibli, but we can't ignore how far it's come in the past few years. By the end of this decade, we could conceivably be in a place where people are able to create anime-like films and shows that look practically identical to the real thing for a fraction of the time and money. This Ghibli-style Lord of the Rings trailer cost the creator $250 in clean credits. That's a lot of money for a hobbyist, but it's a drop in the ocean for an anime studio. And we're talking about an industry that is already well known for underpaying and overworking animators. Most animators get paid to the ground while working on a project, even at the bigger studios. For example, Fox has been written about how poorly Mappa treats its staff, with one former animator comparing it to a factory and criticizing the toxic work environment. The issue with staff being overworked and underpaid flared up big time when Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 2 came out, as there was a clear decline in the quality as the season went on, with episode 14 being particularly bad. That episode's director, Hokuto Sadamoto, ended up issuing an apology on Twitter and taking the blame for the below-par animation. But most people defended him and laid the blame at Mappa's door for...
Thank you for choosing Cineblocks. Before we embark on this adventurous journey, pay attention so we can get you ready to have the best movie experience here at Cineblocks. During the film, always remain seated in your own seat. When leaving the theater, carefully walk down your row and follow the lit up steps and aisles to the exit. If it's too dark to find your seat, look for a flashing light. In case of emergency, find the exit near you and walk to safety. Please silence yourself and be mindful of those around you. Report any disturbances to our crew. We are Cineblocks, and we're here to tell you a story. Enjoy this story. Enjoy the show.